But sometimes you don't need to run simulations around ROI modeling. You have a product, you have an idea, and you simply need to know how much can I spend per day and still have a chance at a positive return on investment. We've done that work for you. Value in marketing can take many different forms, but at PortMA, we like to think in terms of hard currency, dollars and cents. This is why we love return on investment or ROI modeling. ROI modeling is a fantastic overall index measure of how well a campaign balances reach volume, reach quality, and impact with the dollars and budget available. And when modeled correctly with the key components benchmarked over tens of thousands of activations, you end up with an unrivaled tool to determine feasibility and establish increasingly robust key performance indicators or KPIs. Every one of PortMA's syndicated reports and every Experiential BI dashboard deployment have detailed ROI benchmarks, so you can do exactly that. Evaluate feasibility, establish real economic KPIs, and evaluate or compare success. This is a database that exists nowhere else in the industry today. So let's dive into the details a bit so we can walk through PortMA's ROI model. When reviewing this data for the wine industry, we see a typical ROI range between 67 and 117%. It appears that there is some risk with wine activations on average. Less than 100% puts us in the negative. The modeling for a typical day of activation starts with the median number of engagements, which we see here is 53 per day for the wine category. When evaluating the brand awareness and thus degree of marketing challenge, we see 44% had never heard of the brand before their activation experience. Note, we see that 24% were aware but had never bought, 16% bought in the past, and 15% were current customers, but we're going to just focus on the first row for now. We want to look at these newly educated consumers and evaluate the range of purchase likelihood through a low-end and high-end estimate. And here we see that a purchase range of 45 to 75%. We can then multiply this all the way through median engagements, awareness level, and purchase estimate to derive a low and high-end estimate of new customers. For just the newly educated group of customers, we see that it's between 11 and 18 people. And when we do this across all of the awareness levels, newly educated, aware, non-customer, past customer, and customer, we then get a total low-end and high-end estimate customer count. So at this point, we can estimate that the typical day of activity for a day of wine activation generates somewhere between 20 and 35 possible customers. People don't always do what they say they're going to do. And so we need to pass this through an estimated purchase filter, which for the example here, we're going to use 60%. Passing the new customer count through this filter shows us that the typical day of wine sampling likely generates between 12 and 21 new customers. So what's this worth to the brand? Well, overall, we have an annualized value per customer, which is also benchmarked in PortMA's database, of around $30.40 each. Multiplying this new customer count through the annualized value per customer yields a revenue range between $371 and $643 per activation day. And now dividing this by the median cost per event, also benchmarked in PortMA's database, results in the return on investment range of 67 to 117%. So yeah, it's hard going. No one said experiential marketing was easy. What we know from the wine sampling benchmarks is that most activations are barely breaking even. Engaging an average of 53 consumers per activation to market a product valued at $30 per year with a budget of $551 per day, most ROIs are negative. But maybe your plans are different than what is typical for the industry. Are you different enough to overcome these risks? Let's say the brand team you're serving is a bit more on the conservative side and believes the actual purchase filter should be 45%, not 60%. And maybe the brand you're working with sells for a little bit less. The annual customer value is closer to $27 than $30. But the $551 per event day feels a bit generous. You know that you can do better with some volume, so your proposal has you at $500 per day on average. Is this enough? How many more people do you have to engage per day to get the low-end estimated ROI above 100%? You consult your Experiential BI dashboards and use the simulation tools to see that so long as you get your average up over 110 consumers sampled per day, you'll see an ROI comfortably in the positive range. But sometimes you don't need to run simulations around ROI modeling. You have a product, you have an idea, and you simply need to know how much can I spend per day and still have a chance at a positive return on investment. We've done that work for you. Every report and Experiential BI dashboard deployment has a set of targeted ROI simulations pre-calculated based on different product price points and activation budgets. We organize both cost per event and product price for the category into statistical groupings so you can find where your program falls and evaluate the expected ROI. We see here that wine brands that sell for less than $9 promoted at events that are spending over $622 per day are not delivering a positive ROI. And in the 9 to 11 range, you should be spending less than $400 per event day if you want to post a positive ROI. But as you move above $11 per bottle, there are a number of examples of different spend levels and strong returns for the brand. Now you'll see some dashes here and there. We only run simulations when there is a precedence. If there is no historical precedence for a particular product price point or budget pairing, we avoid wasting your time with the impossible. We simply don't include it. Finally, maybe your program is complete. Some just want to know what other brand teams have reported. You want to be able to answer a question like, is my ROI of 160% good? How does it compare? And you're going to find that data in every PortMA syndicated report and each Experiential BI dashboard deployment as well. We've benchmarked the ROI from hundreds of campaigns and organized them into statistical groups so you can see what is average, what is low, and what is high. So here the answer is yes, your ROI of 160% is looking above average. Well done. Modeling return on investment is complicated but doesn't have to be hard. PortMA details both the methodology and the benchmarks in all of our reports and dashboards. We provide you with high-end modeling tools and a clear roadmap to communicate the value of your experiential marketing campaigns.